Tiger and Crane episode 13 begins, where the fairy gives Mao a grim look as Mao discovers fairy is releasing the demon bee. Fairy charges at Mao with a profound speed, but she saves herself by getting aside with lightning speed. When fairy is about to hit her with a direct magic ray, Mao uses the cat ghost bell and disappears. On the other hand, Mo is sitting alone in Mao's room and affectionately making an embroidery sketch of Mao. He talks to the mesmerizing portrait of his beloved Mao that his heart knows she is the prettiest on earth. Meanwhile, Mao reappears from another direction on the Beua mountain and runs away from Fairy to save her life. But as a powerful sorcerer, Fairy throws a knife towards her, but Mao swiftly diverts its direction back to Fairy. Mao does not know Fairy is a phantom weapon sorcerer, so she catches the flying knife. It's the same exceptional ability as Mao as she can leap through space using a cat ghost bell. But in front of Fairy, Mao could no longer save her from the knife. It cuts the arm skin, and, without delay, Mao removes the hidden firework and releases it into the air. That is a kind of announcement that an examinee is in danger at Beua mountain. It immediately alerts Zioxuan, but Fairy throws her knife towards Mao without further delay. That cuts her jugular vein, and she falls on the floor unconscious. Fairy's assistant reminds her that everyone has seen fireworks and they would be here anytime. Before anyone watches Mao, she must do something. Fairy immediately releases the spirit of a blood demon who possesses Mao's body. On the other hand, Cheng arrogantly sits on the post high on the mountain, proudly waiting for his workers to bring the pearls. All the other participants fiercely swung their knives and swords to cut the bees and get pearls. Suddenly, the bees fly in another direction. It took them a moment to understand that it was the sign that a demon bee was about to appear in the field. Most of them run away to hide in safer locations, but the demon bee watches Cheng sitting on the rock and aims to hit him. On the other hand, Huzi, Brick, and Xintong have already collected all the demon pearls. At first, they see a bunch of bees followed by the demon bee, and they start running toward the others. They find everyone lying on the ground, and in that brief moment, a demon bee attacks them. They hardly save themselves and begin attacking the bee with full power and speed. But Bee's pointed leg hits Huzi, and he falls, feeling immense pain and unable to get up. Meanwhile, Xintong fights Bee to stop Huzi from the attack. Brick hits his magical brick with Huzi's body, which cures his wound immediately. Xintong and Huzi's repeated attacks injure Bee a bit, but after that attack, it flies a bit higher in the sky to reappear. But Xintong and Huzi take advantage of that brief moment and plan to lure the bee away from the others into the cave. As soon as the bee watches them enter the cave, it follows, but its body stalks in the narrow cave. On the other hand, Brick cures everyone with his magical brick but hesitates to cure Cheng. He only helps him when he promises to be their companion to fight against Demon Bee. On the other hand, Huzi prepares to kill the Demon Bee in the final attack and rides on its head. But his repeated attacks freak out Bee, and it emerges from the cave. The next moment, the bee throws Huzi in the air and inserts its pointed thorns into his body. Finally, the night falls, and it's the time the full moon appears, and Fair accomplishes today what she came for. On the other hand, Huzi enters another world in his unconsciousness and assumes he is dead. But at the exact moment, a white swan comes flying and drops a furba there. Whenever Huzi tries to capture the furba, a shimmering ray repels his body. But he is about to fall when he watches the ground shattering around him. Huzi jumps high in the air and grabs furba. He gets up and hits Demon Bee using furba, and the bee shatters into many pieces. But that reveals his aura and tail to everyone as he flies in the sky. After he ends the Demon Bee, Huzi falls and becomes unconscious again. On the other hand, Mo finds Meow, and she shows her hand's wound. Mo sucks its poison, but he does not notice the difference in her behavior. At the end of the quest, students return to the inn, and Huzi's tale is the hot gossip of the town. Everyone knows that it's a sign that Huzi is a demon, but unlike the demons, he never harmed anyone. His fellows refuse to accept that a demon can be a sorcerer's friend, but they can't see Huzi as their enemy. At the same time, Cheng enters the inn with his friends and demands that Huzi be expelled from the Royal Sorcerer's exam. Amid the conflict, Meow enters and announces that she will decide who will attend the exam and who will be expelled. She reveals that whoever escaped from the mountain from the fear of bees is expelled. She strictly restricts Cheng from speaking against Huzi as he is the one who killed Demon Bee and saved everyone. On the other hand, Huzi finally wakes up and can't remember that he killed Demon Bee with his furba. The eldest master tries to remind him that he made them proud by using his furba as he taught him. But Huzi remembered that the last thing he watched was a big bird with 4 wings who brought him a crane. That amazed eldest master, but he kept silent to hide something. Huzi feels awkward when Xintong seems angry with him and walks away from the room. To show his furba, Husey pats his tummy and takes it out. No one but only he can grab it in his hand. Master advises him to use it carefully and secretly tells Xiaoxuan that once Husey activates his furba ultimately, he will be able to get rid of his demonic tail. But as he goes, the eldest master once again delves into thoughts as to why the Demon Emperor came to help Husey. Everyone assumes that the Demon Emperor was dead 500 years ago. Fairy tells a mysterious person that Furba's first stage is successfully activated. On the other hand, Husey comes to the mess room and sits beside Xintong to talk, but she angrily walks away. Not understanding the reason for her anger, he follows her into her room. He discovers that, when fighting against Demon B, he said that sacrificing his life for her is why she is angry. He apologizes and promises it won't happen again. Xintong shares she is highly concerned about her friends as nobody is alive except them, but she expelled him from the room before Husey could express his love. On the examination day, the chief announced that only those who stood firm against the Demon B at Beua Mountain would take part in the final test. 24 candidates will participate in the final game, where 4 commanders lead their team to get the token from a high tower. Whoever wins the camp will be given the status of Royal Sorcerer, and the commander will become commander-in-chief of all teams. Husey decides to help Xiaoxuan no matter which camp they will be assigned to. Husey gets a nasty stick, which he wants to change but knows no one will exchange. Suddenly, Brick takes it and asks Xiao to exchange it, which he does reluctantly. It surprises Husey that Xiao favors Brick, but Brick does not disclose his relationship with Xiao. On the other hand, Granny advises Xiaoxuan to be more vigilant against Yanin as they can't trust her. The announcement about the game begins by telling participants about the time limits and restrictions. The game starts, and each commander tries to fight and throws away many contestants in one go. Yanin fights against his brother Xiaoxuan using her blade ruthlessly. Chief watches Husey using his furba and seems quite impressed with him. Arena changes into the battlefield, and Yanin desperately wants to win against Xiaoxuan, so she depletes her spirit essence quickly. Suddenly, Xintong confronts Chief's top warrior. Watching her winning with her strategy, the warrior throws a magic dust that Xinlong inhales. He warns her that if she steps forward, the poison inhaled will seep into her heart. But as she has to win the fight at every cost, Xintong pierces the blade into the warrior's shoulder. After that moment, she falls too. Brick immediately strikes his brick with her body to bring her back. While Husey activates his furba, fused with the power of enchantment, he throws many contestants in one go. Suddenly, they see that Cheng has reached the tower's top and is about to grab the token. But at the same time, Xiao points his sword on his face, and Cheng falls down the tower without getting a token for fear of getting hurt. Mio and another commander team up to defeat Husey first, as they know they can't stand a chance to win the token if that guy doesn't fall. Mio uses her musical instrument to hurt him with its magic, but Husey dodges it. Husey hits both of them, and in one leap, he jumps from the ground and reaches the top of the tower. Standing just beneath the token, he sees Xiaoxuan and his sister fighting each other. In the next moment, he grabs the token and announces his victory. With that, a dragon whose face is embossed on a token encircles Husey. But suddenly, Xiaoxuan jumps high in the air and pierces his sword into Husey's heart. The token falls, and Yanin grabs it. Xiaoxuan stares at the unconscious Husey and humiliates him. Xintong was surprised to see why Xiaoxuan did that. He makes fun of her and says that he can never befriend creeps like the three. Brick checks Husey's pulse but declares that he can't feel any pulse. Luckily, Brick uses his brick to heal Husey, but he is unconscious despite his wound disappearing. At the same time, the commentator announces Yanin's victory. Husey opens his eyes and watches Xiaoxuan leaving the arena in disbelief. After the fight ends, the chief warrior secretly meets Yanin and asks if she has used any dark magic to win. If that is so, he will have to report the illegal use of dark magic, and she shall be disqualified immediately. Yanin laughs his assumption off and tries to lure him to a higher rank to serve the Kai family. She strictly denies his allegation and shares she did not use dark magic, but Warrior is now promoted to Commander. Granny immediately walks away from the arena and quickly gets inside the palace. She opens a secret chamber's door and enters inside, where a lot of hanging mirrors are interconnected with threads. She is shocked to see a broken mirror, and at the same time, Yanin enters. She followed Granny as she knew she would come here and confessed that she broke the mirror to release the spirit entrapped, and she had to do this to win the fight. That spirit took over Xiaoxuan's body when he fought against Yanin. Overjoyed at the success, Yanin boosts in front of her Granny to be the worthy successor of the Kai family, appointed rightly as Commander-in-Chief. But Granny is so angry knowing that Yanin disappeared Faye's soul after taking the spirit assassination pill. It's the Kai family's rule. But sadly, Yanin is defying the ancestors' traditions. Yanin laughs at her acquisition and mocks Granny for telling her ancestral beliefs and rules. Besides the assassination pill, she is happy that she would not bear any offspring for the Kai family. Before leaving the secret chamber, Yanin taunts her granny into being an outsider in the Kai family. On the other hand, Xiaoxuan feels lonely and devastated while wandering through the streets. He sees two brothers sharing their toys, then another couple of brothers learning martial arts, and despair takes hold of his brain. Finally, he stops before a storyteller's stall who tells a story about the ancient Kai brothers. As the story ends, the storyteller diverts the crowd's attention to Xiaoxuan, telling them he is Kai's family's only son. And sadly, he has no brother. Xiaoxuan's brother, who is possessing his body right now after Yanin freed his soul, closes his fist angrily and leaves the sword. Afterward, Granny meets him at a deserted place and demands he leave Xiaoxuan's body. Granny does not hate this twin spirit, but any person born in the Kai family with a twin spirit can live in the same body. But Xiaoxuan's brother's soul is tired of living in the secret chamber for years. He wants to be free using Xiaoxuan's body, but knowing that it's impossible to live in Xiaoxuan's body, he promises Granny that he shall go but will return soon. Granny sadly watches him go, as it's never been her choice to choose one of both. On the other hand, Hughesy wakes up and looks like his world is completely healed. Brick ensures everyone, including Xintong, is okay. But sadly, Yanin has selected the commander-in-chief. Hughesy is still in massive disbelief that Xiaoxuan dismissed their friendship and chose his sibling bond with Yanin in the arena. He suspects Xiaoxuan must be possessed with unfathomable force. Although Biarsik rejects his assumption, he insists on investigating the matter and comes downstairs. He overhears other participants' conversation in the hall, blaming Xiaoxuan for betraying his faithful friends. At the same time, several troops enter the inn, demanding that disqualified students leave the inn immediately. The announcement initiates a surge of anger as the students have not even rested after the competition. But troops give a one-day deadline and walk away. On the other hand, the chief waits for quite some time for the commanders of the rest of the three camps, but no one arrives. Without further delay, he started the ceremony to formalize Yanin's commander-in-chief. Yanin gets on her knees and pledges to serve the Kai family, kill demons, and protect the people. Chief then gives her the badge and whispers that he knows how she won in the arena, which startles her. On the other hand, Hughesy sneaks into the palace to talk to Xiaoxuan, unaware that his body is possessed by his primordial spirit, Yan. In disbelief, he keeps asking Xiaoxuan if he can share if something is bothering him. But Xiaoxuan refuses that they ever share any bond. All he did was to use him for the competition, and he must not forget that he can kill him if needed. In disbelief, Hughesy doesn't move, and Xiaoxuan is about to cut him with the sword when Xintong stops and takes Hughesy away. Yan promises to finish all the good things from Xiaoxuan's life individually. At the same time, Xiaoxuan tries to get out of the mirror but cannot and remembers when his sister Fei turned 12. According to the family ritual, she had to open the lock of the spirit to claim her body forever and lock the primordial spirit. Fei thought she could easily do that, but as she turned the key in the lock, it did not open. Fei falls after a strange ray encircles her. After a while, Fei's primordial spirit, Yanin, gets in her body and tells her that she will be the one possessing this body from now on, because Fei could not unlock it. Xiaoxuan walks in the street that day, worried that his spirit ceremony is a year apart. A few boys in the street attack him, and he makes them run away as Yan's powerful spirit in his body helps him fight. He takes out the paper where he communicates with Yan and asks what he will do during the spirit choosing ceremony. Both of them agree to leave the decision to fate. But in fact, no one wants to disappear. At the same time, Yanin approaches him with a pill in her hand. She offers to feed the spirit assassination pill to Yan and get rid of him. It worked well when she slowly gave it to Fei, and her spirit finally became the weak that Yanin took over. He does not accept the pill, and Yanin attacks him with the purple ray, leaving Xiaoxuan injured. Naive and innocent Xiaoxuan lies helplessly on the street. He looks at his wounds in the mirror and reads Yan's words that he is happy with whatever the decision would be. To warn off his pain, Xiaoxuan eats the pill and goes out, where Grandma asks him about today's fight. Xiaoxuan defends Yan for protecting him kindly, and is about to go when he falls. Grandma brings Xiaoxuan back into the room and finds out that the pill he swallowed to remove pain was not a painkiller. Instead, Yanin replaced it with a spirit assassination pill, and thus, seeing no other way to save Xiaoxuan, Grandma makes a difficult decision. She binds Yan with ropes and accuses him of replacing the pill. Refusing to believe that Yan is not the culprit, Grandma announces that after his mistake, she will not see who wins the spirit lock ceremony. She truly believes him to be the evil in her grandson's face. To free himself and save the body he possesses from Zioxuan, Yan dazzles Grandma's eyes with the magic ray from his hand and disappears. Yan runs to see Zioxuan and pleads with him to believe his innocence. But given that Granny told him about Yan, Zioxuan is so in doubt. At the same time, Granny reaches out and tells Yan that he is a despicable and unworthy descendant of Kai. Hence, without waiting for the final ceremony, she will take this body from Yan and allot it to Zioxuan for eternity. She uses magic to send Yan into the mirror, where Grandma follows him to take Zioxuan away from the exit of the spirit mirror. But Yan stops them from accepting his fate. Disliking his defiance with Grandma Zioxuan, he hits Yan and runs from the spirit mirror with Granny to the real world. From then on, Yan had been in a secret prison until Yanran freed him. Now, he comes to Yanran and reminds him that he is doing as Yanran wants. In return, Yanran must fulfill her promise to return his body. Cunning Yanran threatens him that his father and grandma can throw him in the mirror again. But she is the only one who can be of help. No one dislikes Yanran more than Yan and the family for plotting against him in his early years. So when Yan sits in the study, the parrot sings the line Zioxuan taught him. Xuan and Yan are good brothers. Yan ran through the bird cages as reality was so painful. On the other hand, Grandma starts a magic spell in the secret chamber to repair the mirror. Once repaired, Yan will be caged inside again. At the same time, Yan reads Zioxuan's message written with blood that he will claim his body back. Hughesy refuses to believe his friend Zioxuan has turned his back on him and asks Yanran to tell him the truth. Instead of telling him the truth, Yanran ordered her troops to arrest him. But simultaneously, a soldier runs towards Yanran because the chief has summoned them to bring her to him. Yanran walks away but warns him she will not leave a demon with a tail this time. Going back home, Zioxuan meets Hughesy in the street and wants to know if Yanran is using him or cast a spell on him. Yan brutally stops his generous questions about his well-being and orders him to leave the capital quickly. Their friendship ended when he was done using him. Now, a royal sorcerer can't be a friend of a demon. Hughesy grabs the sword and insists Yan kill him immediately if he is telling the truth. Hughiesy's hands bled when Yan pulled the sword and threw the handband as it smelled like a demon. At the same time, Brick and Xintong reach Hughesy and take him with them. But heartbroken Hughesy had tears in his eyes walking away. A dark cloak man reads a book secretly, while at the same time, a group of royal sorcerers passes by. The mysterious man becomes a dark fume and emerges as a sorcerer. The sorcerer draws his blade and slits one soldier's throat, and threatens others to support him or die. All others run away, watching the evil take hold of the troop's body. On the other hand, Zioxuan asks Grandma about the bow and ship in a secret chamber. This belongs to their ancestors, but they brought it after killing the Demon Emperor and escaping the valley by making a ship out of the Demon Emperor's bones. Tired of his questions, Grandma walks away, but to get the details, Zioxuan brings the eldest master into the chamber with magic. He confirms that the ship was made to rescue everyone from the overflowing sacred sea after the demise of the Demon Emperor. But when the master tried to enter, he could not make it. He was the first person with dual spirits in the Kai clan. Disappointed, Hughesy enters the inn, where another distasteful surprise awaits them. The inn's servant shares that everyone left in the evening except 3 of them after strict orders from the commander, so they are not allowed to stay anymore. They start packing because it's useless to apply for a single night stay. But Xintong leaves for something urgent and secretly enters Tiangang Hall. She wants to have her Zhao Sek's place in the Hall of Fame, but at the same time, a warrior spots her. The warrior does not punish her for breach of security and lets her leave. The following day, Hughesy pushes the cart full of the luggage Brick packed with unnecessary food items. Brick feels disappointed as Xintong has not shown up since last night. It seems that she has deserted them too. But suddenly, she reappears and offers to push the cart. Instead, Brick pushes it, and they find a house deserted by some wealthy family. They decide to clean it up to make it worth living for them. Fairy meets the dark cloak man and ensures his duties are being fulfilled. She will handle Hughesy while she wants the dark cloak man to do something terrible that lifts people's beliefs about sorcerers. Without waiting any further, the man disappears promptly to get on the job. On the other hand, Brick lights up the fire in their new house when Xintong shares she will attempt the exam once again to become a royal sorcerer. Her clan's people rule Tiangang Hall, and she wants to win that pride again. But Brick is clueless about what to do after losing the exam unjustly. But Hughesy assures Xintong that he will stay here for his reason. After a long while, he has finally accepted that he is a demon, and the tale reminds him of things he can't know without it. Besides, it's a gift from her mother that may help him reunite with her sometime. So he has decided to live with the tail. But watching grim expressions on Brick and Xintong's face, he turns around to leave them forever, as he thinks that they would not like to live with a demon. But contrary to his expectations, Xintong and Brick want him to stay with them, because they never saw him acting as a demon. Hughesy can't find the words to express his gratitude for his priceless friends. But to save him from this burden, Xintong sends Hughesy and Brick to get the firewood. Brick decides to do what his friends will do. The possessed warrior is brought in front of the chief and asked to investigate what happened to him. Grandma shares her assumption with Xiaoxuan that she don't think any demon possesses him. It looks like wicked spirits are involved in maddening his brain, which will only urge him to kill anyone blindly. If that's true, then all 3 states are in danger. Xiaoxuan decides, with the permission of Grandma, to break the silence on the matter and inform other states with utmost secrecy. Mo knocks at Miao Miao's door and notices a change in her sound. Initially, he suspects that she has caught a cold, but he suspects a danger when the other person speaking in place of Miao fails to answer his secret codes that run between friends since childhood. The next day, Hughesy, Xintong, and Brick arrange food in a cart when they hear a man is just killed. 2 men with questionable mental state runs towards them, and they team up to take them down. Meanwhile, Xiaoxuan reaches there and orders the arrest of madmen while ignoring his friends. Hughesy could not stand in front of his cold gaze and quickly left. Chief discusses with the captains that 3 qualified sorcerers have become mad in a few days. However, Chief gets angry at Xiaoxuan when he knows he sent letters to other states informing them of the threat. It never happened in the past that a state informed or intervened in the matter of other states. Besides, they are afraid of the Emperor's wrath. Chief decides to look into sorcerers and don't take any serious action. This angers Mo, who reveals his concerns for public safety in the upcoming days. But Miao Miao agrees with the chief, who disappoints Mo, who can't see a shred of old Miao Miao. Mo walks alone at Miao's home and then in the street, remembering that his love bond with Miao is gone. Suddenly, he sees Miao and follows her. She takes demonic powers from a dark cloak man and disappears into the streets. But Mo jumps in front of the dark man, and Miao reappears. Now he knows that his Miao is dead and the person hiding in her body is someone else. Grandma sends carriers to find out why a sorcerer, Yi, needs a lot of demons. But she wants to keep the mission secret. On the other hand, Fairy, who is Yi, comes into her real face in front of Mo. Mo angrily attacks with numerous pointed blades, but she saves herself each time. Suddenly, she disappears, and her companion stabs Mo's back with his knife. Fairy reappears on the roof and jumps before Mo to watch his assassination from close. After her murder, she admires him for being a romantic and talented captain and orders to give him a proper burial. That night, when Hughesy practices with Furba in his yard, Fairy arrives and makes a unique offer. She takes advantage of Hughesy's wrath against Xiaoxuan and lures him to win against Xiaoxuan if he reaches the 2nd level of Furba. He completed the material level, but enlightenment and completion levels are still to be achieved. With the 2nd level, he will become so robust that he can kill all the demons. But Hughesy is excited to defeat Xiaoxuan, and Fairy ensures that he would be much more potent than Xiaoxuan. But she wants him to get into his Furba first to begin the process. Once Hughesy closes his eyes, he finds himself in another plane where, instead of grabbing his Furba, he hugs Guzai. Granny gives him clothes and disappears. Suddenly, all the villagers begin charging things at him. Suddenly, the scene shifts, and Hughesy sees all the people he loved growing up, including his mother, Xintong, and Brick. Guzai demands he enter a black hole to live with his loved ones forever. Suddenly, Brick finds him sitting with closed eyes in the yard and tries to wake him up with the brick. Hughesy takes a step behind and remembers these are the people he lost already. But Brick cannot bring him to consciousness while in another world. He chooses to grab his Furba and ignores what his mother, Gu, and Granny say. After promising to find them in the real world, he swirls his Furba, and everyone, including Xiaoxuan, disappears. Hughesy opens his eyes in the real world and thanks for hitting him with Brick. Xiaoxuan is worried about the increasing number of sorcerers turning mad. Recently, his troops report a 5th case, and he follows them into the streets where the mad sorcerer has killed many people. He arrests the sorcerer, but suddenly another one turns mad and cuts Xiaoxuan with the blade. Xiaoxuan kills the mad sorcerer, who utters the final words that he is sacrificing his spirit and dies. On the other hand, Hughesy's dress has holes in it so frequently, and he doesn't know how to stitch them. Watching him in a state of conflict, Xintong offers to repair his shirt as she learns stitching skills from masters when his father is alive. But contrary to her claim, she stitches together both arms, making the shirt loom even worse. When Hughie tries to unstitch it, it completely tears the shirt, which embarrasses Xintong. Brick brings vegetables the other day and discusses with Xintong that he grew up in an elite household, so he never learned cooking. Meanwhile, Hughie claims that he has been the best chef, so he will cook their food from now on. Hughie cooks and puts food on the table, but as Brick and Xintong take a few bites of each dish, they lie that the food is delicious. But the next moment, after telling Hughie they had eaten their food, both frontside and aggregate for the D was inedible and utterly bad. Suddenly, they see the winners of the Royal Sorcerers competition and their friends, who just arrived after getting their address from Xiaoxuan. They share the capital, which is in a constant state of war. Ever since they became sorcerers, they knew that Zhang had released all demons from the burning pagoda. Three halls have not disclosed the facts to the public and are trying to sort the issue privately. A friend of theirs shares that Yanin is so cruel, and they truly believe that Xiaoxuan sent Hughie away to prevent him from her wrath. Granny receives the news that they have not found any clue of Yimei as she can live in any face. Xiaoxuan suggests seeking help from a royal sorcerer, Zhai, who worked in Yanlu Hall, and with Yimei, Zhai must have a clue that could help them find her. Grandma reaches the prison where Zhai is sleeping with his book. He puts his loyalty to the country first and promises to help as much as possible. After hearing from Granny that Yimei aided in releasing demons and now she is raising them secretly, Zhai assures that she cannot do everything alone, so they must privately investigate the three halls and find the culprit before it's too late, or they will lose the integrity of all three halls in the public's eyes. Granny then shares that 5 sorcerers in the capital have gone crazy. There is a fear among people of sorcerers. Zhai was startled at this new discovery and revealed that it had happened 200 years ago when sea spirits attacked people with dark magic. But with the combined skill of all 3 halls, they defeated the sea spirit. And Yimei was also one of those who helped back then. Now, she is the only one who knows how to end this, but simultaneously, she can be the one doing this. Granny thanks Zhai, promising his release from prison and making him a part of his masters. But Zhai has grown old and wants to live a peaceful retired life. However, the reason why Yimei has released demons and made sorcerers public enemies is still unknown. A guard tells Xiaoxuan that Yanin wants to see them immediately. Hughie and his friends are roaming in the capital because they don't want to be seen. Suddenly, they hear a crowd running after a sorcerer. They saw him with a mad sorcerer last time who killed many citizens. Now, they want to kill him to take revenge. Suddenly, Hughie stops them and shares that a spirit takes hold of some sorcerer's body, and they become mad. It's not right to take revenge as it can be a demon, too, which they are still unaware of. The mob still does not believe him and is ready to attack. Xintong takes out her stick and warns them to attack and kill if they do not leave the innocent sorcerer. Thus, she won't be held accountable as she is still a common person striving to become a sorcerer. The mob understands the danger and disperses while the sorcerer thanks her for saving his life. Hughie once again suspects that Xiaoxuan is possessed by a similar demon, but they seriously think Yanin can be the mastermind behind all the chaos. The surviving sorcerer reports to Xiaoxuan that Hughie saved him today from the victim's family, and he already knew what was happening in the capital. Xiaoxuan wants the sorcerer to investigate why the possessed soldier Wang was warning his possessed that it will happen again. That night, Xiaoxuan stands at Hughie's door and hears him speaking angrily while punching the bag. All his anger was about Xiaoxuan betraying him. After hearing that, he leaves without Hughie knowing he ever visited. But his foot cracks a dry wood, and Hughie suspects someone is standing outside. At the same time, Brick brings a vine for him, and they begin discussing that if demons are free, all the states will be equally affected. They secretly search for demons' hiding places in the capital by entering the Yanlu Hall. Sadly, Xiaoxuan keeps watching them go inside from the gate. Grandma meets Mayo in the hall and asks about Mo. He is the only one who knows the pulse-taking skill, but surprisingly, despite being so close to him, she denies knowing his whereabouts. Granny suspects something fishy and reveals to his helper that she shifted some of Mo Guzi's peculiar smell from Mao Mao. They must follow the smell to find where he is. With her magical stone, they enter the forest, and the stone urges them to stop at a place. They find him buried under the soil, but luckily, his primordial spirit is intact. She casts magic to find out who did this to Mo, and he says that Yimei did this in Mao Mao's disguise using his body. He shares the story of how he followed Yimei and got killed. Now, he wants to take revenge for the merciless murder of Mao Mao from Yimei. On the other hand, Zhai and Yimei use the magic on a sorcerer captured as they have been waiting for this moment for 60 years. He spells magic, and the sorcerer begins burning. On the other hand, Mo shares that he knows Fairy and Jai are behind the havoc in the capital, turning sorcerers into madmen. Initially, Chief refuses to believe. The Elder Master urged to hide the news because it would tarnish the reputation of the three halls. But Mo repeatedly insists that he knows it's Fairy and Jai. To investigate the matter, Chief decides to go to prison and see Jai, his teacher, too. He presents him with tea, but Jai knows that the Chief is here to investigate him, instead of straightforwardly confessing his crime. He teaches the new lesson to the Chief that he is only a chief because people need him to protect them from demons. So, it's crucial for his position to hold the fear of demons in people. Like this video and please complete 600 subscribers for next part.